Welcome, Steve Maeda here, and this is our Daily Awesome. Daily Awesome number 6. You can find it at austinmensdevelopment.com/DA6. That stands for Daily Awesome 6. And there you can find literally everything, much like this podcast, designed to make you the better man. If you want to live a great life in terms of health, perspective, dating, sex, relationships, and really anything that has to do with being the better man, that's what we do here. In this podcast, it was actually recorded on a TSL online call. That's our social dynamics program in February, just actually a week and some change ago. And what we're talking about here is actually how we can see the best parts of ourselves and the worst parts of ourselves when we get something taken away and given to us. And very short, what we're talking about is if you have an insecurity and you put $1,000 on top of it, or sex, or fulfill your dreams on top of that, you're only building a very shaky stack of cards. Yet, if you have your foundation intact and you build on top of it, it turns into, man, an amazing dream. That's what we're talking about here. It's short and sweet and to the point. Give it a listen. Give us your feedback on YouTube or iTunes or Stitcher, wherever you're listening or watching this. And let's get engaged, man. Remember, the Austin Men's Development Group on Facebook is free. Come join it. Follow the links down below. And if you're interested in actually working directly with us at a very amazing, accessible platform, God, it's just great. Go to austinmensdevelopment.com/members. And let's get into this podcast. Live on a TSL Online Wednesday call. Amazing stuff. Man, I love these calls because it's actually the oldest call that we've had. And it was the first call that just kind of spaced out into all this crazy shit. But what we're talking about here is really what it comes down to is judging one's character. You know, seeing if somebody's a good person to hang out with or not. And the last thing that I ever want to promote is like, you know, all this prejudice or pre-categorization. It's stuff we all do, but it's not something that I encourage people to learn to live by. Why? Because your fears and your insecurities get in the way of that. So what I want to talk about here is this idea of one of the best ways to read people is seeing how people act when they have something and when they don't have something. And this actually came out because a couple of years ago, I was dealing with a guy business-wise, and like things were going really south, and I was talking to some of the masterminds about it. And I said, man, you know what? He's under a lot of stress and he's, you know, really fucked up and not in the best place. But, you know, so maybe that's why this guy's like acting kind of bad. And this one guy actually said, I won't say his name because he doesn't like it when I say that, but he stopped in the call and he said, no, Steve, no. That's the best time when you can see how people really are is when they're under major amounts of stress or they get everything they want. And see, this is a very, very important thing. These are the things that we try and avoid or get in life. You know, in order to live, you know, what do people say? It's like all life revolves around pain. All life revolves around pleasure. And you can make the points of that, and that's very true, but human dynamics work in a very different way. And what's so interesting is that whatever we get or whatever pain we avoid, we can still be happy or unhappy. That's a pretty amazing fucking phenomenon, yet none of us actually work for it. And think about this. And there have been times, I describe this all the time, especially like when I do rehab work. And this is very, very true. Multiple times in my life, I've held $20,000 of cash in my hands. I've had all the adoration that I wanted in the world. I've had limitless, whatever it was, like women, people liking me, a lot of yeses, a lot of things, which are all the things that we really strive for. And at the time in my life, all the things that I wanted, yet at the same time, I was unhappy. And then there have been times in my life where I've had nothing work. You know, I've been alone, I've been broken up, I'm getting sued, whatever it is, like just tons of just really bad stuff happening. Yet at the same time, I can be happy. And of course, we want all those good things and we want the bad things to be minimized. But the most interesting thing is that we can get is the concepts that we have of how to be happy, or the roads, better, I should say, the roads that we have on how to be happy and how to live a good life. We rarely walk. And why is that? You know, and the interesting thing about those roads are that they're ordinary. You can do them right now. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what class you have. It doesn't matter, you know, what part of society you're in or even what society you're in. What matters is that we start to do them. And yet it's the one thing we have control over in a world where we don't have that much control over. And what I mean by that is, of course, you can put yourself in great situations. You can work for things. You can have all sorts of things that set you up in the right ways, but we can't control anything outside of ourselves. And see, the one choice that we always have is the choice to access those different principles of life. They could be things like acceptance, things like unity, things like forgiveness, things like love, and so on. And you might be thinking like, man, I don't want this to be a spiritual or, whatever woo-woo talk and all this sort of stuff. But man, it's crazy. It's crazy how little we look at that. So back to this concept. And the reason why I posted this was there was like all this bullshit on my Facebook of people like talking all this shit. And what's so amazing is the consistency people fall into their traps of their behavior. All right. And the roads that they take when all their shit falls away from them. Likewise, the roads that they take when they get everything. And so what do you do? Like, what is it that you want in life? Really, what is it that you want? What would make you happy? What would be the thing which would absolutely make your life kick ass? And you can like think about it. You make a fucking list. And what you should actually do is take some time and actually make a list of all those things that are going to make your life great. And I could do it right now. Well, not right now, but I could do it with myself, and just off the top of my head, it would be like, oh man, money. If we had, a different fleet of cars, if I was able to have, let's go with physical things. If I was able to have longer legs, if I was able to have a brain that was still sharp, like, man, all these things would make me happy. And we're almost sold this over and over again is the solution to our life. People are constantly selling stuff. And what if we got those things? Like, what if we had those things? And anytime I know I had something yet didn't fully value it, and I just went with my want, man, I never respected it. I was never able to fully use it. I never got it. A perfect example was, it's actually a very cool story, but 6 months ago or whatever it was, I got my tools stolen from me. It was a shitty thing, man. And in that day, I got my tools stolen from me. Something happened financially that was fucked up. And I remember when I found out my tools were stolen out of my own garage, I was like, fuck. I was mad. I was angry. I was like, why me? All this sort of stuff. I was pissed off. I was really, really pissed, as anybody should be. And I kept going, you know what, man, I've been in this situation so much. I know I'm going to learn from it, but fuck, I'm fucking pissed right now, man. And I remember that day I was like, you know what? I came to the conclusion. I'm like, you know what? I worked my ass off to get those tools. They're really nice tools, by the way. I worked my ass off to get those tools, and I didn't really value them fully. And if I work my ass off to get them back, I'll value them even more. And that's probably a better life skill than anything else. Long story short, this weekend I was at a party, and man, it was crazy conversation, just saying hello. Just bringing up conversation, doing actually the TSL techniques and telling my story I was asking a guy about tools, and he actually gave me a set of the same exact tools, but a model just above, like the newer version. And it was just such a cool thing because it was like, wow, man. Yeah, I really value that. I was saving up for it. It's like I got $800 worth of tools stolen from me, and I got $800 given to me. And, that's a big investment because I wanted to get something back. So that all being said, it's like, fuck, man, what was the drama in between that? What was the actual equated hardship that I had within that? Yet so many of us make that, the big deal. Basically, the drama within that was I was wronged by whoever took them. I was not able to build the same stuff, right? I have to borrow stuff to build it for, a 6 or whatever month period. And then I was able to get some. But we tend to make these fucking things, these massive deals in our lives, huge deals. Yet we don't see them as opportunities to learn principles to live by and truly better ourselves. And when we get something, man, people will celebrate. They'll get egotistical. They'll think that they're better than other people. And this shit comes out all the time. And when people lose something, they might freak out. They might think that, everything's going to shit. And I've been there, and this happens to me, right? This happens to me. I'm partially telling myself with it. But what we've got to realize from all of that, and this actually does happen to me now, is when I go through a shitty time, the first thing I do is I react to it, get mad, whatever, and, feel shame or feel whatever the situation calls for, right? I'll feel. But very quickly afterwards, it's like, you know what? man, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to learn something, really good from it. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. More back on track to the original thing that started this is there was some bullshit happening on Facebook, and somebody actually because I said one of the best rules of character is how people handle getting things and how people handle losing things. And the guy who fucking burned me commented on that. No, the best rule of character is past behavior. I'm like, that's totally true. That is totally true. But dude, the best way to see something from somebody, in my opinion, is when they get everything that they'd want, how they act, because all the shit comes out. How they act, how they think that makes them better, how their ego gets inflated, how they react towards things, how they integrate other people in their life. Do they put them down? Do they bring them up? Whatever. Or when they lose all of that, and how that makes them flip out and shape their life or whatever. And, one of the cool things is I've seen a lot of people in my life go through some pretty major stuff. I mean, major stuff that I've never dealt with. And one of the best things about my life is of those people who've gone through some major, major things, I've seen them act as sane as they could. Not harm other people, not lash out, not make it bigger than it was, but just do the thing that we all fear, which is to feel the reality of the situation. And sometimes that's pain, and that's deep pain. And man, what a beautiful thing to actually do and be able to do that a lot of us don't allow that to happen, man. Gentlemen, thank you so much for supporting us, being a part of this. This is something that you can count on to be the better man. We are a community. We are here for you. And I appreciate you so much for just allowing this to happen. This is beautiful, man. I've been a coach for 11 years with men and manifesting this dream into reality like this, and just the great community that we've built. Like I said, it's Sunday, March 5th. It's freaking awesome. It's amazing. It is amazing. So if you want to get more involved in that, follow the links down below, and let's do this. Talk to you guys soon.